Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us, and welcome to today's informational webinar. Today we will be discussing the IDSA Foundation's Microbial Pathogenesis in Alzheimer's Disease Grant. Our hope is that today's webinar will provide you with further insight on our research grant and the application process. My name is Stephen Peeler, and I am the Executive Director of the Infectious Disease Society of America Foundation. I'll be your moderator for today's webinar. To provide you with some background information on the IDSA Foundation, I thought I would tell you about our mission. We envision a world free from the burdens of infectious diseases. We believe well-trained ID and HIV clinicians and researchers are the catalysts for reducing these burdens. Since its inception, the IDSA Foundation has taken major steps to impact the field of infectious disease by empowering the generation of ID and HIV leaders. Our commitment to increasing the number of highly qualified doctors practicing in the field of infectious diseases ensures the pathway for future well-trained ID experts ready to contribute to the next advancement in infectious diseases, care, and research. The current COVID-19 outbreak is just one example of how we are all vulnerable to infectious diseases, and it shows us how we need to be prepared for what's to come. Whether it's an antimicrobial resistance, seasonal influenza, or, as we'll talk about today, Alzheimer's disease. Infectious diseases expertise in research and clinical care and in public health is immeasurably valuable. The Microbial Pathogenesis in Alzheimer's Disease Grant was established by IDSA Foundation in 2018. Our funders include the Binter Foundation and Alzheimer's GermQuest, as well as donors like you. Our collective objective is to better understand the link between infectious disease agents and Alzheimer's disease. To answer the question, is infection the missing link to understanding Alzheimer's disease? Today we will go through some of the basic details of the grant application, but we're especially excited to bring you perspectives from two members of the review committee. To cover some of the basics of the grant, this is a one-time grant award of $100,000. In this grant period, we will be doubling the amount of grants from last year, providing not just 5, but now 10 $100,000 grants. These grants are intended for both clinical and basic scientists. We welcome and encourage international researchers to apply regardless of your location. Now I'd like to take a moment to introduce to you Dr. Kami Kim and Dr. David Andes, two members of our review committee. Dr. Kim is the Division Director of Infectious Diseases and International Medicine Professor in the Department of Internal Medicine at the Morsani College of Medicine at the University of South Florida. Dr. Andes is the Chief of the Division of Infectious Disease within the Department of Medicine at the University of Wisconsin School of Medicine and Public Health. He also has an appointment in the Department of Medical Microbiology and Immunology. Thank you both for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us today on this informational webinar. Dr. Kim and Dr. Andes will be sharing information on the application and evaluation criteria. Dr. Kim, can you tell us what makes a strong proposal?
So we're looking for innovative research, and specifically looking at the role of a microbe in pathogenesis of Alzheimer's disease. And so because the hypothesis that a microbe is involved is not completely accepted, we're looking for proposals that would actually demonstrate a real link that's beyond just an association. And we recognize that that will require probably multidisciplinary and probably very innovative approaches to research. We're interested in both basic science and clinical research. Basic science research ideally would involve work that might point to actually a mechanism by which a microbe could influence the development of Alzheimer's disease, and clinical approaches would be ones that focused on identifying patients at risk, or approaches that might eventually lead to some sort of an intervention or even treatment.
I think that's really well stated. You know, we want to cast a very, very broad net. So any focus, a focus on any microbe or group of microbes, it could be the microbiome, it could be a virus, which has been a common target, a fungus, a parasite, you name it. I think the most exciting applications that we've seen over the last year, as Dr. Kim noted, were those that were really thinking outside the box. People from different backgrounds proposing innovative hypotheses and approaches to delineate a true link to move beyond the simple association.
Fantastic. And in that vein, are there any things that you would recommend a applicant should avoid or would not be a good fit for this grant application?
Well, we recognize that Alzheimer's is obviously a devastating disease and really, really important and interesting, but we really want to focus on the microbe's role. So non-specific phenomena or inflammation or some of the molecules directly related to pathogenesis of Alzheimer's without the link to the microbe would not be ones that we'd be more interested in.
Well, thank you, Dr. Kim and Dr. Andes, for providing us with such insightful information on the application and the review process. We do have a couple questions that we'll be going over that have been submitted from some of the folks online listening today, as well as submitted in advance. First one is, it is evident from last year's recipients that the funding was awarded mainly for viral research. Is that, again, the focus for this year, viruses or bacteria?
No, again, we want to cast a broad net. I think that more viral proposals were funded is more a reflection of the number of applications that dealt with viruses. But again, anything in the microbial area is fair game. And perhaps those that might be most innovative would be those that are not viral, and that those are the ones we have seen most commonly thus far.
So we're looking for innovation and the best new ideas, recognizing that to get funded from routine funding agencies is very, very difficult without preliminary data. So we're looking to jumpstart new projects and help people out who have really novel ideas.
Good. Another question is, if awarded, and I'm not positive I'll be able to start my research this fall due to COVID-19, should I still apply or should I wait?
You should absolutely apply. Again, we're looking to fund the best science, and we recognize the constraints that the COVID pandemic is putting on a lot of laboratories. Again, we want to fund the best science regardless of when you can get that work done due to the COVID pandemic. So please apply.
And the last question that we have here is, do I have to be an institution in the United States to apply? Last year, I believe there was someone that was from overseas that applied.
So we are encouraging applications from, everywhere. I think so. Where you are will not influence the decision at all. And as David said, we're interested in the best science, and by science we mean clinical science and basic science. And from wherever that comes, we're open to entertaining applications, reading them with interest, and hopefully funding some of them.
Great. Well, thank you again, Dr. Kim and Dr. Andes, for joining us today and providing us such valuable insight and information on how to submit the best application. We look forward as a team to collectively reviewing your awards and your applications and awarding you with the grant. Thank you again for your time today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
We will close with the 3 most important things you should take away from this webinar today. Number 1, the deadline to apply for the grant has been extended. It is now July 12th, 2020. Number 2, if you have any questions that did not get addressed in today's session, please email Evelyn Morales. Her information is listed here and on the grant application. And you can learn more about the grant and apply through this link that you see below. We hope that you're able to learn more and take something new from this webinar. We will be releasing a part 2 of this webinar on July 3rd that will feature our 2018 and a 2019 awardee. We encourage all of you and hope you will consider applying for the 2020 Microbial Pathogenesis in Alzheimer's Disease Grant. Thank you so much for your time and have a great day.